It's time for the Everyman podcast. So sit back, it's time to get your brain relaxed. So tune in almost every week as we share our thoughts that it's okay to speak. It's the Everyman, but it's for everyone. Making mental health priority one. But it's for everyone, making mental health priority one.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Everyman podcast. Now, tonight we have a returning special guest in Sophie Ellen. And Sophie, I have to be honest, we are super excited to have you back on the podcast. You were an incredible guest the first time talking all things dating. Firstly, how have you been? It's been a year now, I think, since the last time we had you on. What have you been up to?
Oh my god, it's been the most insane year. I think you've got me right the peak of me first starting social media. I think I just really started getting the grasp of it. But it's like a full-on job for me now. Like, it's my life, and I never thought in a million years posting videos about my dating struggles, because let's be honest, we all have them, was gonna lead to what it's led to. Like, my life has completely done a 360, and as much as the dating chaos is hell, I'm actually really grateful for it, because I actually wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now and have the connections and the relationships that I've got if I never have done it in the first place.
Yeah, I think watching not just your page and your following grow, but also the impact that you're having within sort of dating and conversations has been amazing to see. So much so over the past couple of days, we've seen you be super busy.
Oh yeah.
What have you been up to?
So obviously having a platform now for me is massively important, and I want to have that. I have a voice. We all know I don't shut up, but I think it's right that you use your voice for the right reasons. And massively lately, obviously being on social media, being prominent on social media, I am so used to being exploited. I have hate comments all the time, and for me, the generation of young girls now, they're so obsessed with the phones, and they're so obsessed with wanting to be TikTok stars, and that for me is a massive worry and concern. So the last couple of days we've been doing events and stuff about protecting young women and girls, particularly the one we done yesterday with Liverpool Football Club, and I think who else were involved? Merseyside Police. We done an event basically about violence against young women and girls. But the amazing thing they done was they had me as a TikTok personnel, like a influencer. They had Tasha Jonas, the boxer. They had Ashley Dale's mum, who she said lost her life last year, Ashley Dale in Liverpool. And then there was also a chief inspector of Merseyside Police there, and we just basically sat and done this event to empower young girls. And I sort of come from the point of view of protecting yourself on social media and not allowing yourself to be exploited, and how dangerous social media can be, albeit it is amazing at the same time. It can have a lot of but yeah, I'm just using sort of the last few days particularly starting to do campaigns, work with charities, foundations, and sort of using my platform as a massive voice, really. And it's honestly it's amazing. It's just amazing. It's so rewarding as well, meeting all these little young girls who are oh my god, it's Sophie Ellen, and I'm just me, I'm just normal. They're Miss, I'm don't call me Miss, that makes me uncool. I'm definitely just Sophie. But no, honestly, it's been the most amazing couple of days, and it really does open your eyes to what social media is. It's insane.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely incredible. And the testament to you there is that you haven't gone just down the route of you've got a following now on social media, maybe just not just doing brand type stuff, but actually making a difference with your following. So yeah, that's amazing to see. But tonight is all about dating. It's the 2.0 conversation of dating. Misha, I know this is one that you were excited for us to chat about too.
Yes, I was. Yes, I think it's just a really important conversation to be having. And I think talking about these things, knowing that we're all going through the same things. Is that my Is that my speaker that's making that noise, or is it yours?
Pass.
I can hear a noise. But yes, know that the conversation's needed, and I think we all have a lot to say about it. So let's crack on, and so do other people, which has been confirmed by the poll and the survey that we've put out. So I'm looking forward to chatting things through.
Yeah, so to set the scene of the episode, today we are going to talk all about dating in the modern world. Now, I am someone who's single. Sophie, I believe you're single.
Mm-hmm.
Nisha, you've definitely been single for a period of time too. So it's one of these where I think we're all qualified. I don't know if is this my noise? It sounds like a duck. Can
I
anyone
can't
hear
hear
the duck?
nothing, you know. I can't hear a thing.
You can't hear the duck, so that's a win. So I've been single now, I don't know, coming up to 2 years. And I think over that period of time, I've learned a lot from it. There's been, so I'm 32 and I was in roughly a 10-year relationship. And then you become single and you're like, holy shit, like this is
Who am
not
I?
but that also wasn't what I remember what today is. Like it definitely wasn't like that. Like apps weren't a thing. And I think the great place to start would be apps. What are your views on dating apps? Let's go dive straight in. Dating apps in 2025. Either can go.
Shocking. I honestly, like, I'm at a point now where this sounds awful, and I'm sorry if anyone's watching you or on dating apps, but I am convinced that I am not going to meet the love of my life on a dating app.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's because I've had so many bad experiences, or whether it's all the information that you fill in on your profile, and then actually when you start talking to someone, none of which that you filled in is anything that you believe or that you think, because, you know, we're all figuring out our dating goals and no one actually knows what they want. And it is just all about getting yourself that fix. When you're feeling a bit low and your ego's a bit low, it's all about just making yourself feel that little bit better. And the majority of the time, it makes you feel 10 times worse. Because, say, if you really fancy someone and you swipe them and you send them a message and they ignore you, your confidence is gone. So it's like, it's just not for me anymore. I feel like I'm at an age where I'm like, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to settle down. I don't just want to swipe and go, come to ours this weekend. I haven't got the time for it anymore. I just don't think it's very soon. I'm very recently getting out something with someone, but the thought of downloading a dating app makes me want to vomit. So it's a no from me.
Yeah, they are monotonous. They are, from my past experiences, it feels degrading sometimes. You know, you're going on these things full of hope, and a lot of the time you're left there wondering, you know, with I don't know, you're feeling that you're being dismissed, or people don't get back to you, you're getting ghosted. Like, I always go back to, it's funny because obviously I'm 35, right? So going back to when I first started going out, like back in the day, say, I shouldn't have been, but I was 15, I was going out. I know, even saying when you were 17 until I was 15, 17, up to like, I'd say 19, you know, you'd go out and dating was like, you know, guys would maybe ask for your number, or you'd get chatting to people in person. And that, I think, gives you a good feel for somebody in person. You're getting to know their energy. You feel how you feel around them. Whereas now, the app, you know, people can say all of these things, who they want to be, but then actually, in actual fact, when you get around to meeting them, it doesn't feel the same. So, you know, these dating apps, and they're never a real true representation of somebody, I don't think. And yeah, I mean, some of the challenges for me when I was on those things, I've only really been on Tinder. I've never tried anything else.
Worst one. The
worst.
worst.
The worst one. It's the worst one.
I have been on Tinder, but yeah, it's just, I think it's the ghosting thing, isn't it? People don't get back to you when you did. It's very shallow as well, in my opinion. Like I said, yes, looks are important, because for me they are. I do, you know, attraction to me. But it's very like swipe. So it's like a bias really for what for those. I mean, say you're not attractive, or, you know, those. It's like there's like a disconnect for those people. So is it fair for some people? And I don't think it's fair for any of us, in actual fact, because of the way that it is, the ghosting situation. It's just, it can feel awful when you're actually in that and trying to actually really look for somebody. on those things, despite you saying you're looking for the real thing. If I remember correctly, mine had something along the lines of that, looking for genuine connection, whereas, and I don't think a lot of people are on those things. They are just looking for that next quick fix, and it's not what we're looking for. It would be disheartening, I think.
Swipe culture is definitely a thing, isn't it? Like swipe, people were known for just swipe, and it is very shallow. And I think, years and years ago when you would meet someone and you'd have them conversations and stuff, it would be completely different. And I know there's so many dating apps now, like they're bringing out all sorts of things. I've seen one advertised now where you don't even have a conversation with your match. You basically immediately plan a first date, and it's like, I'm like, is that safe? But then they're like, they partner with the establishments that are like, there'll be certain establishments on this app, and you basically pick the person that you feel like is suited for you, and then you pick a day and a time, and they confirm whether they can do the day and the time, and you pick a venue, and apparently the venue are like linked in with this app, and they have people like in there to keep.
Have we lost Sophie? I think we have potentially lost Sophie because she has froze, but I'm going to guess what she was going to say. The establishment will keep you safe. Because that there that we can all see her frozen, she's about to say safe. And now, knowing Sophie, she will be frantically going, shit, my phone is froze or whatever, let me fix it. I think that's a really interesting point. And what was really key about what you said there was the ghosting part. And it's really interesting. And me and you caught up before this episode, didn't we? And we're talking about a few things. And do you know when like you have that rhythm where you feel like I'm messaging you, you're messaging back, there's really good conversation, and there's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you might be messaging like 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 times a day or whatever. And then suddenly that one day, there's just no message back. And you just think, hi, Sophie. We're just talking about ghosting here, about how, like, when you're in that rhythm with someone, you're messaging every day, 4 or 5 times, 10 times a day, whatever. And then that one day, they just stop replying. And you're like, and you almost read the messages back and you're like, what did I say different? Where here has that energy changed?
Yeah,
And
it makes you question what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree. But it's so bad for you, isn't it? Like there almost needs to be like a at the end of like stop messaging. It's like, sorry, I wasn't feeling it. Like
it's like a form
I've
of
met someone else or blah blah whatever that might be.
It's a form of rejection. It makes you question your worth, I think, sometimes. But as I said as well, I think ghosting. I mean, let's open it up here. Who's ghosted? Have you
We've all done it
before? Yes,
we've all done it.
I'm saying, like, so we were talking about this, and like, I think ghosting sometimes, whether or not you, like I say, you question those things and you don't know why they've done it, so you go back on the conversation. You think, is it something I've said? Is it something I've done? It could be that they've just had something going on in life and you're the least priority, which that's fine. But then what people fail to do, and I think a lot of ghosting comes from not being emotionally able to. I know the reason why I've ghosted somebody before is because I haven't been able to find the words emotionally to be able to say to that person, to say how I really felt. So a lot of that could be an option, a thing that a lot of people go through as well, but it is disrespectful. And I think, we should be held accountable, I think, sometimes for doing that, because it can damage somebody's self-worth and somebody's feelings, and I just think it's wrong. But it's hard. How do you stop that? I don't think it's something we can, but I think we just need to create that awareness and around those things, that people should have the decency to at least say when they aren't feeling something anymore, be adult about it. But unfortunately, not everybody is.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. And what was really interesting, so thank you to everyone who completed the survey. It is more than 95 now. I just haven't refreshed it. But for the sake of sharing this, we did a survey before the episode. We asked people various questions around dating, and one of the key things was the ghosting part. And when you look at it, right, I don't think people are being honest here. And Sophie, I think you're right. I think most people have ghosted. So out of this, like roughly 19% of people are saying that they have done it, but a huge percent, 71% of people are saying that they have been ghosted. And then some sort of quarter are saying that they haven't. And what's really interesting for me about that is how honest are people willing to be about their bad behavior?
Yeah.
Because I think
true.
most people have done it. I do.
Yeah.
But actually, what you really remember is how bad it made you feel when you were ghosted.
Yeah.
And we can all stop this behavior in society by just stopping, agreeing collectively, stop ghosting. Like, even if you just say, look, I'm really sorry, I'm not feeling it, I don't want to talk anymore. Like, I just didn't feel the connection was there. Little reason, done. Like, that's it. But when you get that point where it's like, no reply, and let's be honest, the worst thing is the no reply, that they've read it, no reply, then you see them posting.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you're like, what happened? Why?
I think people have different views on it as well, because say if like you're speaking to someone, so you could be speaking to like 3 or 4 people at once. I don't know how people have the mental capacity to do
Yeah,
that.
I don't know
can't.
either.
But
Yeah.
if someone was speaking to like 3 or 4 people, they've probably ghosted someone and not even been that arsed. But for that other person, you might be the only person that they're speaking to. You're
Yeah.
their only. They could work from home. You might be their only form of communication that they've got. And people have these connections, and they might feel them on a completely different level. So you might have just ghosted someone and not thought twice about it. But that other person could feel really deeply connected to you, and you've just really like destroyed their self-confidence. And it's scary. Like I could not sit here and have the platform that I've got and go, I've never ghosted anyone. I 100% have done it. I have 100% have done it.
Why?
And I wholeheartedly regret it as well. Like,
Why? Why do we do it?
I think it's like I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this, but like,
You can swear as much as you like.
so it's like the shitbag route. It's like you're a lovely person and you don't deserve what I'm gonna do to you at all in the slightest. But I'm gonna like not have the balls to say to you that it's not working, that I'm not feeling it, and I'm gonna take the shitbag route and go the other way. Or it could be that if someone's got numerous people on the go, they might just drop someone because they want to instigate it with someone else, and it might work with them for a few months, and they might just want to pick up where they've left off.
Oh, that
Never really been an end.
No one ever gets that second chance. I have to be honest. Like, that's not a thing. Like for me anyway. Like, if that's a no, it's like a cross off.
It's no more for me now. I've learned the hard way.
Oh, okay.
Again, something that I couldn't deny that I've never done before because I've done it before.
Yeah. It's definitely sorry.
No, go on.
It's definitely a form of avoidance, isn't it? And like you said, I think in this day and age, like they might have 3, 4 people on the go, but that's in essence an issue through the social media dating apps and things, really, because they've got so many options that actually they might be failing to tell those prospect people that is they've got 3 on the go, but because everybody's got so many, it's crazy. And I think they don't think of the impact that it could have on that other person, regardless of how they decide to move forward with it. I just think it's so wrong.
Yeah, I think it's bad. I don't think I ghost per se.
Not now.
Let's reword. It's almost. I try. Let me think as I say it here.
Yeah, be careful how you put this.
He's singing to drag it out, thinking, have I done it where anyone could say I have? Is to try and almost direct the conversation that it's not going somewhere. Like, very clearly phrase it out. Yeah. But to be honest, I do try and be honest. And it's not because sometimes it's not actually because it's that person. It could be
the vulnerability
not right for me. Yeah, like there's not necessarily anything wrong with that person. It's just you're not right for me and what I want. Like, I am the most fussy person in the world. Like, Dean will always say, obviously you met Dean last time, Sophie. He just hasn't come on the podcast tonight, which is a shame. He didn't come back for the reunion. I'm a fussy person, and he always says I always look for reasons not to date someone. versus for reasons to date someone. I think Sophie is froze again. Otherwise, or she's really good at a staring competition. So yeah, I think generally I almost test that first like initial bit of crack conversation. Is the banter? What are their values like? Are they my
This
type of person?
Wi-Fi, it's doing my head in, sorry.
It's okay. Who are you with?
Me?
Yeah, what broadband?
EE?
Ah, don't say that. Let's move on. We'll edit that out of the podcast because I work for EE. So EE, for anyone who thinks about joining EE broadband, please do. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Shh. Okay, moving on. I was just saying there how I generally try to wind the conversation down, I think, and make it clear that I don't want to move it forward. But there are times where you feel so bad, especially if there was an initial connection.
Yeah.
And you know that, like the initial connection. Right? Question here for both of you, actually. Do you ever ghost someone after meeting them? Is your ghost ratio higher pre-meet versus post-meet?
Sorry, what do you mean? Like if you meet them once?
Yeah. So just messaging. Are you more likely to ghost them on just messaging, or do you also ghost post-meet?
Messaging potentially. I think
Messaging, not
I've
meeting someone.
one person before when I've been on a first date. That's because it just they didn't seem like the person I was speaking to, and I was just like, absolutely no. So yeah, I think pre-meet is where I'll potentially go. So where the conversation fizzles and there's not much back and forth, they're not asking questions, you're not really trying to get and I'm like, I'm done with that. But I think that you've got to have those boundaries. I think sometimes in place, if they're not responding to you, it's like you quite happily leave that as well, So yeah, that's definitely pre-meet for me, I would say. Is that the same for you as well, Sophie?
Definitely. I think for me, it takes me a lot to go on a date with someone. I think I'm not a person who's just like, you message me and I go on a date with you the next day. Like, I have to have like conversation. I have to be interested. I have to have that like excitement and eagerness to meet someone. And I feel like if I've been on a date with you and we've spent time together, maybe they've paid, I've paid, we've both paid, whatever the situation may be, someone's took their time and energy and effort and you've gone on a date and you spend time together. I think to just go someone after that, even if it doesn't feel right, I would rather send a message and be like, listen, you are lovely and the date was lovely, but it's just not what I want right now. It's just not right for whatever reason it might be. But I definitely would say it's easier just to dispose of someone when you've
It's almost like it's not real until you've met.
Yeah.
Right. It's Is it because, so I have the luxury here to interview 2 women on dating. So lads, this is all for you. Do you think that you expect men to be messaging multiple girls so you don't almost take them serious until you meet? Because that on some of the survey that we've done, that was some of the answers.
I think,
I'll let you go.
I don't know, like I feel like my most recent person that I was seeing them for like 6 weeks and we were on a night out together. A couple of my friends were there. And when he opened his phone, he still had his dating apps all on his phone. And I was a bit like, it's been 6 weeks, it's been numerous dates, it's been like spending quality time together, one-on-one, nights over, things like that. And I was a bit like, oh, were you keeping your options open? And I was a bit taking like a step back a little bit, but then at the same time, you can't deep it because you're not actually in a relationship with them. Even though you're acting as if you are, ultimately you haven't had that commitment conversation where it's like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, we're not seeing anyone else. And I think until you have that exclusivity conversation of like, are we only seeing each other? I think you probably should expect them to still be messaging other people, or dating other people.
I disagree.
I mean, it shouldn't be from this. I agree, because I suppose until that conversation's had, until you know where you both stand. I mean, my intention isn't to go into that dating and be honest, quite frankly, I couldn't be bothered to date multiple people at once. Like, no.
I couldn't either. I was so shocked. I was like,
imagine having the same conversations in out within it. No, I just couldn't do that.
So,
and I'm meeting them specifically anyway.
So the reason I disagree, right? And I'm agreeing with you, Sophie, in the sense that you shouldn't have the apps, because and I disagree on you shouldn't have the expectation unless you have the conversation, because I think first date, of course, they're probably speaking to someone else, right?
Yeah.
Second date, they might be speaking to someone else. For me, if someone's speaking to someone else and we're going on a third date, then they're not that interested.
No,
Like,
exactly that.
I
Exactly.
genuinely believe that, and I do and would communicate that. Like, first, that's a given. Like, and they might not be speaking to someone else, but I have no right to say, like, we
Yeah.
are exclusively dating. Date 2, we've gone on a date. There's a connection. We like each other. Let's see each other again. But then the third, it's like we're now spending real time. Like, there's clearly a connection. I don't expect you to be, because I'm not. And the reason why I can say I don't expect you to be is because
It's
I'm
because
not.
you're not. Exactly
And
that. Exactly.
and any dating experience, relationship, connection, whatever that might be, has to be equal. And someone said something the other day, actually. Yeah, it was someone I was speaking to last week, just around prep for this episode, and they said that people talk about dating needs to be 50-50. It doesn't. It needs to be 100-100.
Well,
It needs
yeah.
to be I'm in,
Yeah.
you're in. And
Mhm.
today's world is 50, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, as they talk to 5 other people. They might put more effort into you, but 10% into 5 other people at the same time. But there gets to a point where it has to be 100-100. And if it's not, that's why so much breaks down, because people aren't going into it with the right intentions.
People do it in ways, don't they? They do. I jump in feet first. Like, I literally jump in with 2 feet. And I'm a sod for it. And my family go, you need to stop doing that, because ultimately you don't know how long this is going to go on for. Like, you could be seeing them for 3 months and that be it. But then I'm like, oh no, but I really like them. But then ultimately, do they feel the same way about you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we've had a few comments from people here. So first one was from Jamie, and he's saying dating can sometimes be easier, can meet that person, then can walk away if it doesn't work out. So in person, I presume that's what he means. But I think Jamie has said something good, or Jamie Lee has said something good. 6 weeks in, if dating apps were still on his phone, I'd be off. After that amount of time spent with each other, they should know if they are dating to form a relationship or just having fun. I think that's true. I agree with that
But then
completely.
it comes with the honesty as well, though, because they could be saying to you, it's what they want, but then actually it might not be. And I feel like that's definitely what just happened to me in my most current situation. I feel like at first it was the whole, I want a long-term relationship, I want a future, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And then, you know, you're a couple of months down the line, and when I'm ready to be like, I didn't think person should even have to ask that question.
Yeah.
We honestly,
No.
let's not mention the brand again. So we'll move past. But I promise you, the broadband is normally super reliable. But let's move past that one. I will add Sophie back in when she comes back. I also think so. Jamie's just made another comment there. That's why relationships are failing so bad. Now, sorry for bringing this part up. Too narcissistic on social media. Too. That's another reason why dating has failed. I agree. I actually think, and I had this conversation the other day also around. She is back. I had this conversation. I had this conversation the other day also, how we, within dating today, we spend so much time looking for that connection, and that connection, I think she hasn't froze, she blinked. And that
Can you see me? Because I can't see me.
I can see you.
That's fine. As long as you can see me, that's fine.
Yeah, so people look for that connection, which aligns to all of our other social media, of that big dopamine hit of excitement. Oh my God, the chat's really good. It's flirty. It's banter. It's amazing. That real high, like kick, like super attraction, which I think is really important. And I am absolutely guilty of that. But where we miss is the values, what we want out of life, what a relationship means to us, what good communication is, what we're actually looking for. We miss so much of that in the initial part. So you, and I'm not I'm not having a go here, but you potentially got 6 weeks down the line chasing the excitement, versus very early doors having that deep, meaningful conversation of what do you, and he's told you everything he wants. I get that, and he's been up front and he's potentially played the game. But it's getting aligned with someone on that real deep level
Mhm.
versus going, oh my God, this is so exciting, because that's where so much of us fall into that trap. And that's men falling into that trap
Yeah.
as much as women. Oh my God,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
so fit. Oh my God, like she looks great. Her chat's really fun. She actually lets me watch the football. This is great. Like there's elements of that where it's like tick, 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 tick. But actually, what does it really mean to building the foundations of something true?
I think there's nothing wrong in you know, like we're saying about this after those 6 weeks, you know, we sometimes might not if we're going out with them, we're not expecting them to be dating anyone else, but there's no harm in sometimes asking that question, saying, are you dating anybody else? You know, and like we said, going back to truthfulness, it's whether or not they're honest with you. But I think it's not saying you're exclusive, but that is okay in saying, are you dating anybody else? Because that's going to give you an understanding, and you'd want them to be honest and say, well, actually, yeah, I'm dating two other people. And then it's like, right, okay, and then you can come up to some sort of understanding of when that his decision would be kind of final, I suppose.
How would that make you feel?
Pardon?
So that
I'd be devastated.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that-
you'd just feel, well, you'd feel like you didn't not mean anything to them, but like that your time with them wasn't valued, or
even a first date. So a first date, you ask that question, they say, yes, I'm dating someone else, or I'm dating a couple of other people. How do you feel in that situation?
me hair up, I'll be making me something.
She was like, I'll
You
make
still
myself look
be
pretty.
excited. But obviously we're all different, aren't we? Like I know that personally I couldn't date more than one person at one time.
Agreed.
But that's not to say that someone else could. Like I don't have that much free time. For me, my free time, I want to spend it with someone who actually values my time as much as they value their own. Not someone who's just like, oh, you know, I've got you on a Monday, Jessica on a Tuesday, Jenny on a Wednesday. No, be me.
It's a full-time job, dating. It's
is.
like a full-time job. It is. It gets
Yeah.
mental load, the time, you know, especially when you say you used to being on your own for such a long time. So fitting it all in, it can be exhausting.
So when you say that, right, you say you don't like, you wouldn't really like it. So I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Oh, here we go.
Should he be honest then? If he sees some potential in you, right, and you're both telling men here, because you guys are the oracle to men watching this podcast. Should he be honest? So he could have went on a couple of dates, could still be talking to them, but he hasn't put everything into them, and he actually likes you. Should he tell you the truth and potentially lose you, or should he not tell you the truth and make the decision after the date?
Tell you the truth,
Tell you the
100%.
truth.
Transparency, being open and about and being adult about it is
Yeah.
the way forward. But like I say, it's that vulnerability and being able to understand himself emotionally to be able to do that. And a lot of people do that. They'd rather hide that, like you say. But I suppose you being that bigger person and actually asking them outright and having that conversation, then you'd expect an honest answer. But yeah, it's whether or not they're able and capable to do that emotionally, to be able to tell you the truth like that.
I would probably take a step back. I'd probably be like, okay, like mentally, I'd be like, okay, if you're seeing other people, then maybe I need to see other people, or maybe I need to like, you know, maybe take a little step back in terms of like, maybe I'm being a bit too full on with my emotions or my feelings. Maybe I need to just go pull back the reins a little bit, and then you're not humiliating yourself when you're like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with you, and they're like, oh, I'm obsessed with you today, but I'm obsessed with you tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, you protect yourself, don't you?
Yeah. So Jamie has commented again saying, never start something on a lie. Also, rather be hurt with the truth than hurt with a lie. Honesty is always the best.
100%.
Great, Jamie Lane.
Yeah,
yes,
that is a great comment. I agree. Okay, so I think we've covered ghosting a bit there. We've covered some of the initial conversations around like how to initially start or whatever. I think like the initial dating challenges, those sorts of things. So I'm going to ask this from a bloke's perspective. Feel free to ask the same question back if you wish. What are the things that you guys, I can't call you guys because you are literally the opposite of guys, you girls, would look for in a potential partner? Like, what are the actual things? And
what I look for.
Be really honest, not just say, oh my God, he's got to have a really nice personality, and I really hope he's family orientated and he's kind, because all of those things are important. But how many times does the nice guy not get the girl? So let's try and answer that question.
Well, communication for me is massive.
Mm-hmm.
I do need to have communication. I think values
As
aligned.
in they can talk, or
I
positive communication.
love somebody who, you can have a good conversation, a deep conversation about anything. It could be, I don't know, laugh with somebody that you can, banter with. Like, communication is huge, I think, for me. And things I look for, I've already said. I think physical attraction for me is that's one of the initial things that I would find drawn me towards somebody, absolutely. But I totally acknowledge that isn't everything, because you can go out with somebody who's beautiful and has got the personality of a wet sleeve. So, it's sometimes in that case that doesn't work. What else would I say?
So communication and looks so far.
Yeah, and values. I do need to have similar values in life. So I suppose
Which are things like what?
Pardon?
Which are things like what?
Yeah, values. Well, for one, for me, I like somebody who is who has a bit of ambition, and this sort of future orientated. So I'll say that was one of them. Obviously family oriented. Kind of get me words out. Family oriented.
I've swapped devices now, guys. I'm on.
Oh no, you're gonna have to get some money back from that connection.
Thought it, lads.
Yeah. So what have I said? I've said.
So look, family values, good communication.
Yeah, good communication. And I think for me, the older I'm getting as well, is somebody who is emotionally aware. So is able to, I think that's a big one for me now. Somebody who can recognize that and, understands himself. And that's another one as well. Somebody who kind of knows themselves. Because I think unless you know yourself, how do you know somebody else? How do you know to relate with that person? So yeah, I'd say those were kind of some of mine.
Sophie?
What I look for.
See, I'm shallow. I'm so shallow. My first thing, I'm so honest though, like my first thing is initial attraction, like physically, like I have to have that, otherwise I'm not interested. And that sounds awful, but it is important, and I'm sorry, whatever it says, it is important.
But it's important, do you know?
Yeah. Obviously love someone with good morals. I love someone who's very open, honest about the feelings, someone who can communicate the feelings. I understand it's difficult, men find it difficult to speak. But obviously in a relationship, I think it's so important to have that trust and that communication with the partner. Someone who's family orientated, like you said, not I'm gonna say it. Someone who's like not necessarily career driven, but like someone that's quite proud to hold themselves financially. Like, I'm not expecting you to provide for me because I'm very independent in that sense, but you can hold yourself, and similar ones for the future, I think, as well, is massively important for me. I'm at an age where I can't be bothered wasting time if you do the same things as me. I'm very much at an age where I want to settle. Marriage, I can give or take. Marriage doesn't really bother me, but I definitely want children. If you're someone who doesn't want children, you're not for me.
I think it's key, isn't it? Like, especially in these things, that you understanding what you want. I think a lot of people go into this, I'd say, until I got to a certain age, I really, you're kind of blind to all this, but I think it's really important to have when you're in the dating world, I think you need to have your boundaries in place. So knowing exactly what not being picky in a sense that I like this, and this. That's not what it's about, because that's, people say, you're not going to get everything that you want. But it's really important for you to have your non-negotiable. So knowing exactly what kind of what you won't tolerate, going in, write a list of things you won't, and then reverse that into something that reverse that into what that could be is a positive. So then you've got a list of things that you want, and then anybody who isn't that, be firm on what you stand for and cross them off and be like, look, I'm sorry, this is where that being assertive in your needs and wants and needs comes into play, and communicating that so that the other person has no room to not know where they stand. You're being kind of, forthcoming in what you want, but by actually knowing what you want, your non-negotiables, and going in on that, I think that's one of the key drivers. Sometimes I think that a lot of people might not actually go into the dating world with, and then be disappointed when they don't get what they want. So, just being firm on that, I think that's a massive thing in the dating world. and knowing what you want. It's not about being picky, like I said. I really don't think it is.
Having standards, isn't it? It's having
Yeah,
standards
of course,
of
it's your boundaries. It's
what is
things that
compatible for you. And
you know what you tolerate, you know what you need in a relationship. Like, I know I need those certain things. Like, I need that communication, and without it, I don't feel like it works for me. I like to talk. I'm yappy, you know, like the rest
that's
of
why
us.
we love you on the podcast. That's why.
But yeah, no,
Um,
I think that's a key point. Just
mhm.
to know what you stand for, know what you need and your wants and needs, and try not to go into that blind, and don't be disheartened if that person doesn't turn out to be that person. Then move on to the next. Thank you. Next tick.
My favourite
Ross.
saying. Favourite saying.
Thank
See
you.
later.
Next.
Yeah.
So within that, right?
Hmm.
Again, playing devil's advocate, I might as well ask the questions.
Do it.
So you have your list, right? Both of you have your lists.
Gentle.
Um,
I
yeah.
don't sit down.
So
I'm
you
going
haven't
like
done it. No. So you haven't done it. There's that part. There's that part to a degree. You haven't wrote it down. So therefore,
I mean,
how if you haven't wrote it down and those standards aren't potentially real standards, how often are you or have you dated someone that doesn't match those? So before you get into it, are you going through that mental process saying, I already know this person isn't right for me, but because the initial attraction so Sophie, to your point, if someone who's really fit and he's got good chat
but
and you can see the
sometimes they outweigh, and I think so, getting to know somebody,
flags.
you kind of you like you say, you might not get everything that you need, but there's things that might be more important to you, so you can navigate that through getting to know them and understand whether or not it's working for you. And like you say, you might not have everything, but if it's a non-negotiable, like, you can't say you've got 12 non-negotiables. I don't think that's a bit like much, but say you've
I
got
agree.
2 non-negotiables, that's not hard to weigh that out when you're actually in that relationship. You can actually go, right, they don't have that, and if it's a non-negotiable, it's a non-negotiable. But you can have a list of things you like and need and want. And I think going through a relationship in a couple of months of getting to know somebody, you're kind of weighing all of those things, aren't you? And yes, some of them might be more important than others, and you might not get everything fully what you need, but it's about what works for you in that time period that you're with them.
I've got another point on this though. So
Mm.
that comment then that come up is off my cousin's husband,
Okay.
and he will out me if I don't be honest in this situation, right? For me, I want it to work so fiercely with people, right? Because I'm at an age where I'm so desperate for like a family and a marriage and to just be happy, right?
Yeah.
That I will know something is wrong, but I will sort of like allow situations to happen and convince myself that it won't happen again, or that there's a reason. We can talk about it, we can discuss it won't happen again. And I will stay in situations a lot longer than what I should.
Yeah.
And he will agree with me 100% on that, because I've been in so many situations where I've known from very early on that it's not right for me for whatever reason, but I have tried so hard through the embarrassment of it not working that I've probably stayed more than what I should have.
Yeah, completely agree with that as well. Sometimes you do, don't you? You ignore your inner compass, knowing these things, but you're like, oh, maybe they might, and I think that does happen. I just want to go back on that last comment.
I know. I didn't get it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a
so
strange
basically,
one,
just please comment again. But like, another thing I said, if I meet someone, I agree they should come up. You think they should come off social media to be able to trust them? Is that what you're saying, Jamie?
Yeah,
No,
I'm not sure on that one.
with this one.
I
Imagine a lad saying to me, get off social media. I'd be like,
So they should not have to come off social media in order
oh,
to
yes,
if
I
you
believe
can't
it.
trust them. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
yes, Jamie Lee.
Yeah,
We love
Jamie Lee is saying, yeah, I agree. We
yeah.
shouldn't. At the end of the day, right? Social media posts, if they are posts that are thirst traps, let's call them as that, something that they are clearly for the opposite sex attention and not for any other reason, and your relationship doesn't have the trust, the boundaries, the communication within the relationship where that is something that is accepted, that is always going to be an issue. But if you have the relationship that has the boundaries, the trust, the communication, and all of those sorts of things in place, where, for example, no one could date Sophie if they don't like someone posting on social media, considering she's a content creator. She's an influencer on TikTok. Like, it's not possible. You can't have that. So actually, it's maybe dating someone with that type of interest on social media just isn't for you. I would say, and this is me as a man reading that comment, potentially the work needs to go on internally around that before making some of those comments. There's something maybe between social media posts from someone else and how you respond to that, because actually people should be able to post generally what they want, but be respectful of the person that they're dating or with. That would be my views on that.
It's hard, isn't it? Social media was never around when my mum met my stepdad and they met on a dating app. Like, it was never a thing. And I think now it's massive. We all use it. We're all guilty of it. We're all on it every day. You know, social media is bad with relationships in a sense of like we're pushed every day of like, you know, I've seen that Luca off Love Island asked Grace to be his girlfriend in the most lavish way that I've ever seen in my whole entire life. And I feel like young lads are going to be looking at that now thinking, well, I only asked my babe like on over a meal or something, is it not good enough? But then you have all people commenting on that, and if you can't, even with me in my situation, I do post heavily on social media and I get a lot of comments and a lot of messages off people. If you can't physically deal with that, if you don't trust me, there's nothing I can do. You've got to have trust in that other person and what they, you know, their moral, what they believe in. Like, I do get a lot of, like, controversially, I get a lot of male attention in my DMs every day off men who are like, can I take you on a date? Can I this? Can I that? Can I this? And like, when I've been in situations with people before, we've looked through the messages and obviously I don't reply. And it's not to be horrible to ghost anyone or to be nasty, but if I'm seeing someone, I have to have respect for that person.
Of course.
And ultimately, I'm not going to be answering these men who are like, can I take you on a date? Because right now I'm in a position where I'm not dating anyone else and I've got respect for the person that I'm with. It's all about trust. 100%, that is all about trust.
100%.
Yeah, this is a good point, and it's probably around that using social media. If anything, I love to share memories made in a relationship. I love to show off my man, not feel like I have to come off and live my life in privacy. Yeah, and I think again that's something that you start to do. So Sophie, you touched on that point. You would love to get to a point where that person that you date potentially comes into some of the content, because your conversations and your content is very much around relationships and dating, and hopefully it moves on to what that becomes in it, and because that's the full journey, right? Dating really shouldn't be this negative thing.
No.
But it's the hardest thing in the world, because it's two completely different people from completely different background with completely different views and experiences who don't know each other coming together in unison. Like, that's ultimately what the objective is. And there's the problem is it's so sped up today through technology and apps, let's be really honest, that it's yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And there's so many options out there. Like, that's the problem that we actually have, I think, that even if it's a maybe, it's a no, because there's 10 other people or 20 other people who potentially could be that yes. And we don't really invest or try on the maybes because we're looking for that yes. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me on any of that. If there's any views that you want from a man's perspective. If not, I'm happy to move on. You can interview the man here.
I just think, like, obviously, I have experiences. Like, I was dating someone last year who we've known each other for years. Went on a couple of dates, and he was like, the reason why I went so cold is because you're on social media and I don't think I can handle it. And I thought, you've known that I've done social media for a lot longer than what we've been dating. So for me, it's like, if you know that I'm on social media, I physically, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not changing my whole life, my career, my job to suit a relationship that I've been, like, you know, seeing someone for a matter of weeks. Like, it's not going to happen. And I was really taken aback by that, because I get it. Some people are very private with their lives and stuff. And obviously I would talk the back leg off a donkey. And I am very probably overshare a lot of stuff. And people think, oh, she goes again, another failed situationship. Oh, what's wrong with her? Like, she's the problem. But like, if you see that and then you try and, I don't know, make out that it's like a negative, like, you know what I mean? Like, backtrack a little bit, like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't vibe that. I'm like, no, you knew
You
what you
wouldn't
were
know.
getting, pal. Stick with
Yeah.
it.
You would have known, and I think sometimes it's their insecurities, isn't it, playing out? Like, what is it about social media you doing that he doesn't like? Is it because you're exposed to others? Like, why was that, when he would have been kind of aware of that when he dated you? So yeah, whether it's been a bit of a cop out, isn't it?
So this is Jamie. So I follow you, Sophie, and I love your posts. I've laughed and cried at them.
Yeah.
I feel like the person that is used as a cop out because you're social media, and they know that from the get go you're worth more, girl. It's
so
also
that was
control from Donna as well.
That was someone I'd known from college years ago, and we went on like one date together, when was it, like October last year, maybe November. And he didn't tell me then though, so it ended, and he actually didn't tell me that reason until Christmas. And he messaged me and he asked me to go for a glass of wine, and I said, why would I go for a wine with you when we were literally dating and it just ended? And he was like, I'm really sorry, but this is why it ended. I couldn't deal with the fact that you're on social media. And I was just a bit like, that is a cop like response. Like, not interested. Your loss.
Good. Well done. Well done. No, I think that's the best way to be, completely.
And thank you, Jamie Lee, by the way. Appreciate you following me. I love that so much.
Yeah.
We're on the side.
Right. It's 100K coming next, right? That's the big one.
I hope so. Yeah.
You'll get it well before the end of 2025, I am sure.
I hope so.
So I think something fun to do would be to potentially read some of the answers on some of the questions that we got on the survey, and some of your thoughts on them, because there are lots of men and lots of women answers, and I think it would be quite fun to have a look at. So I'm going to be honest, I can't actually see you when I'm doing this. So you could be doing anything. You could be telling me to fuck off, but I can't see it. So in terms of this question, it was, in your opinion, who should pay for the first date? So the answers are: split the bill, the person who initiated the date, the person with the higher income, or other. So as you can see, roughly 50-50 on split the bill, 35% or 36% person who initiated the date. Then someone else is other, which I don't know if that means someone has a rich sugar daddy or something, and that other person
to be the guy, maybe.
Because if so, I would sign up for having the rich sugar daddy to pay for all of my dates as well. If anyone is looking to start becoming a full-time date payer. So yeah, your views on this, girls?
Person who initiated, I think, and or split the bill. I suppose it just depends on the situation. Me,
yeah, I've done it. I've done them all. I have paid for a date before. Someone else paid for a date. I've split the bill. Like, I have done them all. But I feel like if you've got in a particular an idea of what you specifically want to do for a date and you've instigated it, I probably would say that you would pay. But yeah, I'd be happy to split whenever. Like, it's not something I'd shy away from at all.
Okay, so from a man's perspective, and there is a view out there that it's sexist me saying this. Women should pay for everything. I'm joking. That on a first date, I would always want to pay, like, irrespective of who asked, who did what. Like, I feel as a man, again, could be chauvinist or sexist, because they're the comments that get labeled towards it. But I feel like I would like to always pay. Like, that's generally where my brain goes. I think it's the way I was brought up, the morals, the ethics, the values. Like, I'm not saying as a man I should always pay for everything, but equally I think as a man, it's my role, and it's not a role that I'm like, oh my God, I've got to fucking pay. It's like, I actually want to, because I value your time in coming to spend time with me. And I want that to be as frictionless as possible, and you just to have a really good time, us spending time together. Like, generally, that's where my brain goes with it. So as women, how do you feel about it on the first date if a man insists to pay?
I think I was taking it, quite gentlemanly. If they say if they pay for that date, then it's always appreciated. But like I say, it doesn't have to be where they would pay for every date. You can always split the bill, or you take on that. But as a first meeting gesture, when a guy does that, I think it's quite old school, isn't it? In a romantic sense. Or some women might say that, but yeah, that's what I would say for me.
Yeah.
In terms of, so this question isn't actually on here, and I wish I did ask it, because we are going to jump to a different set of questions in a minute on this. But in terms of a first date, I'll take the screen off actually while I ask this, because I think this is a good one to see your faces as I ask it. In terms of in terms of a first date, do you think the first date has to be a lavish big thing?
No.
Like, what would impress you most with a first date? Like, what can a guy do right?
I've done all sorts of first dates, like, believe me, and I've been to the lavish restaurants, I've been to the park for a walk, I've been for a coffee, I've been for a meal, I've been to a games place where you play mini golf and you do all that. One of my most memorable dates in the world was hiring a voice scooter. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
The little electric scooters around the town.
Scooter, and we scooted down the dock road in the rain. For me, completely about the company that you're with. It's
absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. I think first day, like I say, it's that quality time, isn't it? I suppose it's no matter where you go. I've done them all too, but I suppose it's about the conversation and the energy that the two of you bring together when you are together. I think. Yeah.
What's your views on this is a slightly loaded question because I have my views straight after it. What is your views on going for food on a first date, like you meet at a restaurant?
Hate it.
Fucking hate it.
Yeah.
So shit.
Don't do it to me.
It's so like, because
all over your face.
but it's all like, you want to eat. Like, you're there, you're going for food, you're starving.
I'm not afraid to eat in front of them. I'm not one of them where I'd be like, oh, I'm scared to eat. I'd be ramming it in like I normally would.
Yeah, I'd be woofing it. I'd be a proper food. I'd be like,
I'm not afraid. Yeah, 100%.
It's too formal, isn't it?
Or the pictures. The pictures, another one. You don't
the pictures. The pictures and going for food. You can go for food on the first date, but it's not the first thing that you do. Like, go for a walk. Exactly.
Have a couple of drinks first somewhere, meet in a pub, have a little, Dutch courage drink that I was doing with my hands there. Little Dutch courage drink before you go. Do you know what I mean? Like, set yourself up for a good time.
Yeah. That was one of the survey questions as well, talking about whether alcohol should be included. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Having a couple of drinks, beforehand, a Dutch courage. What's that? My first time it was KFC. Love that.
That's class.
And the married, we've been together for how many years now? So going well.
So hang on, to all blokes who listen to this, KFC is the answer. I nearly said the finger licking good, but it just sounded so wrong on a first date. Like, that is not the slogan to use on a first date, is it? That's not the first date answer.
Carl would do that. I know full fan well he'd say that.
So yeah, let me find the alcohol question, because I think it was a good one.
The alcohol's danger zone, I think,
I know, it's like it is. You've got to. It's all. It depends how you are when you're drunk, like around that person.
What did you say? What was it?
When you're drunk, doesn't it?
Did you say it's a dangerous one?
I said alcohol's a danger zone.
I agree. I think it is. But for me, it means that it's more likely to end in potentially freaky on
Sexual
a
intercourse.
first date, especially if all the initial boxes are ticked, Sophie, with really attractive, good banter, like great connection, and we'll talk about that after this. Opinions. I'm not asking for any stories. Do not worry. Just opinions. But so the question on this one is: should the first date include alcohol? And I think these people are lying. I'm going to be honest. This is another one where I think people are trying to sound angelic.
Sorry, didn't no 2 people put yes?
They're lying. They're
Liars.
lying. They are lying. Honestly, especially so we are all Northerners. I might not sound it, but I am born in Newcastle, live in Newcastle for 13 years. That most dates people want to go for a drink or a couple of drinks because it calms you down. It makes you feel more relaxed. It makes you feel chilled. And actually, people are generally a little bit more chatty when they've had a drink. So I don't think our survey were truthful in this one.
I agree.
Okay, we're gonna touch on the big subject here. We are going to talk about it, and you do not have to answer anything. So I will give my opinions. So don't worry. So we talked about sleeping on the first date. We'll just call it sleeping.
Yeah.
Like you go back, you go into bed, you get your jammies on, have a shower, glass of milk.
We'll be coming back to you.
My mum's watching this. My mother is watching this.
Hello. Hello, mother.
Well, honestly though, what do you think?
Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah.
Not about our own experiences.
Yeah, no.
Let's talk our opinions on what that situation is. So my first opinion on it is it obviously happens. So let's we're not nuns.
There's nothing wrong with it, by the way, anyone who's watching.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Everyone can do whatever they want to do.
We're all
Absolutely.
adults, yeah.
But as a man, my opinion, if it happens on the first date, I am less likely to think it's going to have longevity.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. And it's wrong to think it. It is. Like I can sit here and just because I'm saying it doesn't mean that I'm right, but it's just where my brain goes. And with regards to that, it's like it always makes me think, and I've spoke about this with my mates ahead of this, so that they would. So I rationalized that it wasn't just my brain. It makes you think how many other people has that happened to, and that's not attractive. Thoughts?
I get where you're coming from because I think the exact same thing the majority of the time. But I think I'm at an age where now, obviously, it's circumstantial for me. If you're younger and you're not really arsed, you don't care, do you? Like, it's whatever you want to do. Everyone's got the right to their own bodies, and if they're both, it's consensual, they're both happy to do it, then that's absolutely fine. The majority of the time, we'll wake up the next day and we'll probably regret it because we'll be like, why did we do that? But for me now, I've definitely got it instilled in me now where I wait, because for me, I want to know. This sounds really deep, but like who I'm giving my body to, I want it to mean something, and it's important to me now. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's out of respect for myself. I'm like, no, you're not getting me easily. You know what I mean? You've got a bit of chase a little bit.
Yeah, I think you've got to keep those things are like important. It is an importance, like you're in an exchange of energy with somebody. It's like you're letting them into your body, and it's. I think that is important to think about that and not jump straight in. And like you said, it takes away that excitement. If you're ready to expose your full self to somebody on the first day, it's like where is that the tension?
Where'd you go next?
The tension's the best bit.
Yeah,
you're ruining the best bit.
Absolutely, and I think, like I say, we're adults, so if it happens, it happens. It's but there are some repercussions of that, and like you said, from a self-respect kind of feeling, I think trying to save yourself to do that in a relationship when you're meeting somebody kind of keeps that excitement alive, I think, and knowing that you actually are compatible with them before you would do that thing.
It's how you like your impression of like sleeping, as we call it, with someone, like how deep that is to you on a personal level, though,
Yeah.
because I know for some people it's not that much of a big deal, but for other people it's
Yeah.
everything. And I think at this age that I am, when I do want to commit to someone and I do want that longevity, it's like I really do want it to mean something, and I will enjoy that build up, that tension, that like excitement of it all, and then when it happens, it's sort of that like that little piece of the puzzle where everything changes for me, because you've been filled with someone and there's that level of intimacy that's gone further up, quite literally. But like, you know, it makes it more emotional, more emotions get involved, you know.
Yeah, no, I think
Way
you're
with
right.
words.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's brilliant. To be honest, right, I was just trying not to jump on any of that and like just let you dig your own hole there. So
Loved
that's
it.
absolutely fine. No, I think the dating apps, because it's so transactional and so like instant and like that has definitely shortened that gap of sleeping with someone. But for me, I have to be honest, once a conversation gets to that point, especially before we've met, I lose interest really,
puts
really
me off.
quickly. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm
off.
not saying there's not the excitement, because there is. Obviously, like the conversation you're having is exciting. But if it goes on for days, like day 2, day 3, and if that's generally the crack, I'm like, wow, I'm so bored. Like,
I find it so, you know, that's a tip for you boys. If you're messaging again, you haven't met her yet, please don't even try and instigate a conversation about that with the girls. They don't vibe it. It proper puts me off, because I think, who else are you talking to like that? Like, it's just not.
yeah.
Once it's happened and you've had that like common action,
Were you,
like you can
did you say
reflect.
coming action?
No, common.
Come in.
I think you said coming action. I was like, fuck me, we've gone explicit here. Welcome to the R-rated podcast. We are talking about the coming action with Sophie Ellen.
No. But I mean, yeah, once you've done it, you can have that conversation, because it is exciting for both of you, because it's personal to you. But when you're just talking to someone that you don't really know, and you're like, oh, you know, slap me, choke me out, go away. Go away.
Are you playing UFC here, or what are you doing?
And literally now.
Do you know, lost its meaning. Like, do you know, because of this there's constantly, you know, the people on Tinder meeting people for these hookups, like the hookup culture. Like sex has, I feel like, especially maybe it's for the younger generation that haven't witnessed what dating was like before, but it's lost that emotional intimacy, like between relation. Like I say, it's just so transactional, and that emotional aspect is actually how you build a relationship with somebody. And I think that part of it is really gone, or the youth of today or the younger generation of today have kind of lost the ability to be able to do that because of this transactional, not in person communication or contact or relationship, whatever situationship, whatever they're kind of going through. And that's the sad thing. Like, I think that's where it differentiates. Everything is so transactional now. It's lost that actual, I'm gonna go with this statement, or like it's an actual meaningful, like it's a sacred act. Okay. Do you know
on this topic?
It is.
Numbers, right? Here's a question for you. Do you discuss your number with someone that you're dating?
No.
No.
Why
Like,
would
you being quiet? You're being quiet.
No. No.
Do I discuss my number?
Like, if a girl you were dating said to you, how many people have you slept with, would you be like, bang, there you go, have that?
I just don't think that's, I think again that comes down to the trusting thing. Like, I'm sorry, we all have a past.
I don't want to know. I
wouldn't want to know.
It's bad,
I'd
right?
be disgusted if someone asked me that. I'd be like, excuse me?
Because there's the narrative, isn't there? Like, women want someone who's experienced because then they're good in the bedroom. Men want or they're better. Generally, that's generally speaking, that is what people think. I may have heard that. And men want someone who's innocent so they can teach them. Like, generally, that is something that men think about. Generally,
hysterical.
Ian never
generally,
knew that. So they want someone that they can mold and shape. I mean, they're not
generally,
going to be.
I think that's a thing. I do. I'm not saying it's necessarily
Can
is.
you then comment? Let us know if that is a thing.
Yeah, men comment on that. That's a good one. But equally,
Lewis is like, oh.
but equally, experience is a thing too, right? Like it is a good thing.
Numbers
Equally,
to me don't make any sense because you could meet someone who's had 7-year-long relationships, right? And he's slept with them 7 people. But you could be sat across the table to a girl that's had 7 one-night stands. Like,
yeah,
the number's the same, but the experiences are completely different. And the meaning
Agreed.
behind it is different.
agreed. Yeah, I
So
agree.
it's like, it's a number. I just don't think it's important.
Oh, do you know what?
Everyone
Do you know what I
has.
seen the other day? And I wish Christian was on, because I'm not going to be able to find the clip to share it. So it was a woman on a podcast, and she was talking about numbers actually, and she said something along the question was, why do women go back to people that they've had sex with?
So the number doesn't go up.
So the number doesn't go up. She
Ian,
said it,
your
and I
experience-
was, and I was like, oh, that's like a cheat code, isn't it? Like they go back to people even though they know there's no future in it, just to protect that number. Now, is that actually a thing? Because I watched it and I was like, oh, that's really interesting to little old me.
This is funny because I have definitely had that conversation in my friendship group.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think it depends again on the situation. It's completely circumstantial. Like you could have had something with someone for like a couple of years, and if you're both single at the same time, you're really comfortable with each other, and it's just that common ground knowledge of being like, this can just be sex and it mean nothing. We don't have to have a big full scale row over it. We don't have to have like heartbreak. We don't need to open up wounds, and you can just sleep together and it be. We all have an itch that we need to scratch. Maybe it could just be the itch that we scratch, and that be it. That could be the situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I suppose if you didn't have a very good experience,
How
why
would you going back?
would you want to go back?
No,
Well, you don't to them, do you? I think that's the point.
But then I suppose if you go back and sleep with someone, I suppose if you thought about like that, your numbers definitely aren't going to go up. But why? Why would you? No, that wouldn't be a thing for me to think that. I'm just going to go back and have some fun just so my numbers don't go up. That just wouldn't cross my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on slightly. We skimmed across the top of the sex conversation. We are not an OnlyFans topic conversation. We're not on an OnlyFans sex podcast. It's about dating. Yeah. So sorry for anyone who's getting really excited. We were going to go to the next level there. This is not the podcast for you. So we talked about their going back to exes, but we're referencing it more around sex there. But what about dating exes? So if it didn't work out for whatever reason, are you ever likely to try again if time has passed?
Depends again, circumstances, isn't it? I think if the things that depend on how things broke up, and I think as you grow up, say for example you were younger when you dated this person, it was a school childhood sweetheart or something like that. When you meet in your 40s, obviously my mum, for example, she dated her now husband when she was younger. And then they didn't work out, and then they met again in the 40s, and they're completely different people. So when they actually met, it was like fireworks. It just met, they met at the wrong time back then. Obviously, they weren't meant to be, and I think that goes for everybody else as well. So if it really depends on the circumstances and what led to the breakup the first time, and maybe your age and things as well, because like you say, your values change. Sometimes you change, and yeah. So I think that's okay circumstantial and okay in some circumstances.
I agree with that.
I'm generally a no, I think.
Are you?
Yeah, I think I am.
But what do you think? Because if it didn't work then, but what about when you change? If you can change as a person massively in the space of 10 years, like you could be completely.
I think that's the inner doubt, though, isn't it, of the fact that it didn't work before, and it's that anxiety of it not working again because it has gone wrong before. And I think I've been guilty of that a lot of the time, where I'm like,
It might.
You might have an argument, and you're like, oh, I'm so bad if I get into a situation with someone and I have an argument. I'm like, oh, it's never gonna work. I'm just gonna argue all the time. It's gonna be terrible, as if that isn't normal life. But like, I have that bad, like, where you probably think, Lewis, like, if it hasn't worked before, it's not gonna work, and there's a reason why it didn't work.
Yeah.
Then you look at, right person, wrong time, or those, like, the things meant for you in Pasha. Like, I think
That's the part.
substantial.
So that's the part there, right? And it also depends. Your answer depends whether you ended it or they ended it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ended it, you are very unlikely to do it because there's a really strong reason why you ended it. If they ended it and you still, from time to time, see their post, you remained friendly-ish, or you didn't completely remove contact and you yearn for what could have been, I think you're likely to try. Now, I sit here in a position where generally, I think I've stopped things progressing more. That I think that's why I would have that opinion. Like, I think there's been obviously times in my life where I haven't. So when I think of that question, those people, everyone that I ended it with, they didn't even come up as an option. But my brain automatically, and I don't know about you when I asked the question, if any names came to your head of, and it's not saying yes you would, it's they were the checklist that I compared against of like, would I want to redate any of those people again? My answer remains the same in no, but it's one of them where, because they essentially held the power in the ending the relationship, that maybe there's some, for me it feels like, could there have been something that more than what happened?
It is interesting, but again, I just think circumstantial. Like, if my first ex tried to knock on my front door, I would be like, you better turn the round and get away from my front door. Other people who have dated, it's like been genuine, like it's ended for like really civil reasons, like wasn't the right time. Like, I went traveling, I was seeing someone before I went traveling, a really lovely guy. It didn't work. If he knocked on my door, I'd be like, do you know what, we can go for a drink. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but
yeah, that's interesting. No, that is really interesting. It's a good way of looking at it. Okay, so shall we delve into some people's dating stories?
Yeah.
We can go. There are some bad ones, and there are some good ones. Before we do either of you have one? I'm not expecting you to say it now. Is there a good one or a bad one? We can talk about it after reading some of them if you need to think about it. But I don't necessarily have a bad one, if I'm honest. Sophie is smiling, thinking, "Which one do you want?" But
honestly, I've got a catalogue at this point. But I remember putting you up with Niall, my best mate, the other month, and we were asking for dating disasters. And there was a girl who I went to college with who said something along the lines of, "I was chatting to this guy, and we were talking about our love for Mike Myers, and he was like, I really want to go on a date where I'm dressed up as Mike Myers." And she was like, "Mike Myers isn't like Mike Myers," and he was like, "Yeah, like as in Shrek."
Oh.
And I was a bit like,
What?
like, he fully wants to dress up as Shrek for his date, but I was just like, yeah, that's not for me.
No. Depends though. Is it human Shrek? Because human Shrek's a bit of a good looker, isn't he?
Human Shrek.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Who's human Shrek?
Have you not? I think it's Shrek. I'm saying I think it's Shrek the Third. I definitely know it's Shrek the Third, and I could be wrong actually. Is it Shrek 4?
Is it actual? Is that a film?
Yeah, no. Human. He becomes a human.
You're hiding under a rock, clearly.
He's pretty buff, isn't he?
Incredible films.
Yeah, very, very, very good. Okay, let's go and read some of them. We might have to skip past because we haven't done a great job of pre-reading all of them. So we're just going to share and read some out and hope for the best. All right.
Wouldn't it be funny if one of my exes were on here? Oh,
that'd be hilarious. I dated Sophie and she did this. Okay. So this is a really odd one, which me and Misha read before, but met for a coffee and turns out he had just got out of prison for racial stabbing. Spent 9 years inside. He turned up to date drunk. Went back to bed, I presume, no sex. And he was shouting out in his sleep that he loved his ex. Went on for about 2 hours till I woke him to stop because I needed to sleep. I feel like that's a pretty bad first date.
My God, I've just got a flashback. I've actually.
Did you write this?
No, I've just got a flashback of a date though. Oh wow!
Are you sharing this flashback or not?
I will share this flashback. Oh my god!
Come on then, we'll share this
Right.
flashback and we will get
I was
back to the
this
stories.
guy. I was dating with him. Chatting to him for like, I think maybe it's about 2 months or something. I can't. Was it down the bottom of the country? I can't remember exactly where he was. Not the bottom of the country, but further away from me. And I arranged. I'd been speaking FaceTime for 2 months, and he come over, and I was like, "Shall I into my to my house?" I think, "Well, look, B," and I agreed for him to come to my house. He gets here, and he waltzed straight in my front door. He didn't even knock at the front door. So at this point, I was like, "Oh, hello, hi, are you okay?" Getting talking, sat down on the settee, and we started laughing and joking about something, and he started like, I'm not kidding you, like the Joker laugh. The same, the smile, the joke, I laughed, everything. I had to message my friend. Oh, it was horrendous. I was so like, what the hell's going on here? He just walks into my house. So I get out of it anyway, friend to the rescue. You message and say, oh, and she
Ring me.
rang, pretended she was my mum. And yeah, I had to get him to leave. But yeah, it was so weird. It's just popped into my head. Like he was
Did you not
smiling.
hear his laugh on the phone or anything?
No, this is what I'm saying. He didn't do that. It felt like it was just so weird. And he walked straight to my house, didn't knock on the door. I'm thinking, oh, hello, okay. So he's just a bit forward, like
I don't even walk into family's house without knocking.
Ringing the doorbell.
he
Yeah.
just walked in. So I was
How
like,
rude.
point, I'm thinking, this is a bit bizarre. Then he
Yeah.
sits down in my house and starts laughing like that. I was like, right, I need help. Someone's going to have to come and get me. And then he had, basically, bearing in mind, he travelled 3 hours. So that's when he's sitting there. I says, I'm sorry. I says, my daughter's not very well. I says, you're going to have to go. And he's like, I've got to travel all the way back out. And he goes back out and slammed my door. Slammed my door and left.
Did you
So,
ghost him?
I mean, no, I spoke to him for months after that, Lewis. No, of course I did. He was posted, blocked, everything. Like it was, yeah, it was
Never invite the first date to your house for the first time. That's so.
No, that's a rookie error.
Ever do that again?
It was, but you know when you just because FaceTime, like you say, that this is another thing though. So talking about like FaceTime and so if you talk to somebody and you get to know somebody on these things, and when they come actually into your presence, it's like they're not those people. It's just really weird. So that's a lesson learned. I'll never do that again. Jesus.
One thing I always like to do, and I don't do it every time, but I actually do like to have had a phone call or like a FaceTime.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah, definitely.
it's their crack. Like, can you hold a conversation? Do you have banter? Like, are we flirting as we're talking? Like, can you, like, do you know when you can hear in their voice they're excited or they're nervous or like that's the fun bit. Because do you know if you just text and sometimes you rock up and like you say the crack is not there and you're like, this is because actually if the crack's not there as much on the phone, you think, right, well then we need to do something fun to see if they have crack. And if the crack's there, it's like, okay, we could probably just go for a walk because the crack's going to be there anyway. Like it almost helps you to have a better date. Okay, let's go through some more of these because this is I think there was one that was pretty good here.
I'm actually scared of this.
No, this is a really important one, which I think you girls will really agree with. So first date with a guy, he told me he was 6 foot, but he was actually 5'3", if that.
Yeah, man, be honest.
So the height one, we'll cover that bit first. Never mind the fact that he took the whole top of his entire teeth out to show me what work he was having done on them. She thought she was being set up, but it was genuine. So what I would say is never take your teeth out on a first date.
Please don't.
That's too much commitment. No one's committing to a gummy bear on day one. If you've got teeth, keep them in. That is a number one rule. But I do think, and I know some of my mates, I will definitely not drop them in it here. I know they don't tell the truth on their dating profile, on their height, on their height, and I don't get why. Because you're going to rock up to a date, and you're not 6 foot. Like you're 5'9". Just say you're 5'9". Like it's absolutely
Height doesn't bother me, you know. I think I'm one of the only girls who's not asked about height. Obviously, taller than me, please, but I'm only 5'3", so it's not difficult. I'm like basically a midget, but like height really doesn't ask me that much. I'm just like, you are what you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like height, but I can't, have dated guys who are smaller than me. So I don't. It's not a massive thing, but again, it depends on the other elements. If the other things are there, the other things are there, then it doesn't really matter to me.
You're
So
tall and boring.
are you worried about your height? Are you really worried about your height, Lewis?
Who? Me?
Are you
No,
rising?
no. I'm 5'9", so I'm not tall. I'm just
I
normal
suppose
height
it's
for a bloke.
bigger,
So,
isn't it?
I think, to be honest, right? No, I'm not. To be honest, like, I'm really comfortable who I am. Like, you're either gonna date me, like me, great. If you're not, someone else is going to. So, like, that's fine. Especially at the early stage. Probably similar to what Sophie was saying. If the crack's really good, if I think they're really hot, if the banter's really good, like, that's the hardest part, because there's the hook. It's like, oh, you're ticking the big headline boxes. But then if their values very quickly aren't aligned, and like the connection isn't there, or something about me they don't really like, and I know I'm a good person, it's kind of like, well, that's all right. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm not what you want, that's cool. Now, if it's 5 dates in, it's very different. That hasn't happened for a long time though. So, yeah, let's have a look at other ones. Let's see if there's some nice ones, actually. Nice ones would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be nice to see if there's any.
Give me some hope, someone.
Oh, we need hope. Okay. Ooh, people always like to. The crane driver who slagged off his wife on our date, but she sounded really cool. I think that's a good one.
Having sex at a hotel.
Oh, here we go. Misha's going with that one. Here we go.
Bill starts calling me daddy. I explained that I don't like that, as that's what my oh my god. We carried on, was a struggle to get going again. That sounds like a really eventful date.
Then she goes out of nowhere, I want to peg you. That was the shag finished, and I left. So
that sounds like a hookup.
Yeah, that is a strange one to begin with. A good spanking in the cinema after the film had finished. Spanking in the so you've waited for the film to finish. You've watched all the end credits. Someone has bent over someone's knee and got a spanking in the cinema. That is a strange way to end a date. This is a cute one. This one, smiley face, 6 months in, and I'm very happy. That is lovely to hear. We like that one, don't we?
Yeah, hope it's there.
Matched with someone, and he brought me a bag of cooking apples. Really random, and I have no idea why. So, if mystery man who really likes apple pie, please could comment on why he bought cooking apples. That would be brilliant. Haven't really had a good one.
Oh no!
So, okay. No, we can talk about this one. So if someone says they haven't really had a good one, who's to blame?
I think
is that person man or woman? Because we don't know who it is. We don't know who posted it. I think they are as much to blame for that. I'm going to be honest. If you haven't had a good date and you've been dating, why haven't you learned? If you keep having really shit dates with people,
what is it about? It's about self-reflection, isn't it? If that is the case, then what is it about? That is it that you're looking at the wrong dating sites? Are you attracted to the wrong people? Guys?
Lewis, look at us, love. Look at us, love.
Yeah.
We're single. And we're like, we haven't, you shit at dating. Yeah. Hello.
I'm going to be honest, though. I think I would answer it the opposite way. I don't think I've ever had a bad date.
I have.
So I don't think I have. But I would like to say, because I have conversations before, which means I wouldn't go on the date unless I think the date's going to be good. And generally, it's up to me to plan the date, isn't it? I don't think I've ever had a girl go, I'm going to plan the date. hang on, that can happen. If anyone wants to plan a date and take Lewis on a date, you can come in. You can plan and take me on a date. But no, in all seriousness, generally because I have to plan it, we're doing things that I would enjoy, right?
Applications welcome, everyone.
You make me howl.
Hang on. Hang on, I'm gonna say that exact same thing for Sophie. If you can plan a great date for Sophie, slide in her DMs. We're going with the same thing though.
So like we're on blind date.
Yeah, it does feel like that.
That would be a good one.
Well, have any of you gone on a blind date? I have not.
Never.
No.
Never.
The attraction thing's too big for me to do it.
You really know what people, friends, what my friends would do to us.
My friends know my type though.
Yeah.
Know my type to a T. They could draw out my type head to toe. But then.
But would your friends put you on a date with your type?
I don't think they would, you know. To prove a
That's
point.
good friends, right?
Clearly my type's not working.
Like, open your horizons, try this out. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I don't think I would trust my friends to set me up. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I would.
I think I would, but like, no, they know they'd be in the shit. It was terrible.
It was the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think it's risk versus reward, isn't it? Like the risk.
Sorry.
The risk of being stuck there with someone and it's really awkward and ruining my 100% never had a bad date thing makes me.
How do you know you've never had a bad date though? What if I went on a date with you?
For me. So they might hate it when we're sat watching the football. I'm sat playing the PlayStation. I'm joking. I never do any of that on a first date. But
I've watched the football on a date before. I love the footy though, don't I? So
yeah, exactly. How good have we been to you tonight? You are a Liverpool fan. Hang on. I'm just going to get this in and I'm going to edit it. I'm going to clip it up and I'm going to post it every day for 365 days or however many days it is till the next Carabao Cup final. You're a Liverpool fan on a Geordie podcast. We beat you on the weekend. How are you feeling? Are you more traumatized that you're single at 27 or that you lost a cup final to Newcastle?
Lewis, I ended my situationship the same day that we lost the final. It was a shit day. It was a fucking shit day. And I'm not okay with it. But in your defense, we played absolute dog shit. You deserved it. You haven't won anything for 70 years. You can have this one. We've got other things to win, unlike yous. So yeah, you can have it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
So you don't sound like the bitter ex there at all. Let's be honest. You don't.
No, do you know what? We were actual dog shite.
Yeah, you were terrible.
Awful.
You were really bad.
Awful.
I'm looking at thinking.
I was more interested in watching Ant and Deck and their reactions than I was the fucking football game. You were that bad. But anyway, I knew you mentioned it.
I had to bring it up. And to be fair, if Dean was on and the rest of the boys who I know Misha likes football, but if the rest of them who are obsessed with football, it probably would have been the first half an hour that we spoke about, asking your opinion on the tactics and substitutions, why Arnie Slot didn't make any substitutions.
Why did we have like a 5-foot fucking football player marking someone who's like 8 foot? Make that make sense.
He's from Blythe.
Anyway, let's move on. Back to dating now.
Yes, we can go back to dating. But thank you for everyone who hung in to, especially if you follow Sophie or friends with Sophie from Liverpool. We just wanted to wind you up a little bit because she's on a Newcastle podcast. So the other piece here, and the last big question actually, which we asked people, is do you think you are good at dating?
No.
Now, 10% of people said yes, they think they're amazing. I'd be interested to see whether they are the people in a relationship or single. Some roughly half think they're okay. Roughly 20% think they're terrible. And 23% said they don't know. So, same question to you girls. Do you think you're good at dating?
I think I'm fucking hilarious.
That doesn't mean you're good at dating.
I know. I'd say I'm average.
How are you defining that? Or are you just making it up?
I'm just making it up. No, I don't know. I feel like it's circumstantial. I love that word today, circumstantial.
You do,
It
yeah.
depends who I'm with.
It
If
made
I'm
me
with
think of
someone-
circumcised. I don't know why.
Stop! Why are you doing this
don't
to
know.
everything that I'm saying today?
I don't know why.
I'm
I don't know
sold.
why, but my brain went, why did she say circumcised?
You need to go and have a good sleep, and I say wash your hair. But you've got
I've got none. That's it, mate. That's it.
But no, I don't know. I feel like it matters on the person that you're on the date with. If I'm honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
I'm all right with it, but I think for me, sometimes I can find it a little bit. I can find it a little bit overwhelming sometimes. Like I don't know, going into the date and continuously doing the same thing. Then you kind of weighing things up. Your mind works. You think, does it work? Like I think it can bring up a lot of. We service a lot of sometimes patterns for people or emotions for people. And me, so don't get us wrong. On the date, I'm me. I'm as authentic as I can. But I think mentally and it can be challenging for some people, and I can be one of them. I can relate with that on some respects. And then dating in general. So even when you're dating for a period of time, like I say, I think you date people, and the more serious you get in things, that person can hold up a mirror to you. So you can feel it can trigger you in different ways. I suppose, like you said, on your where you were talking earlier about your attachment styles and trying to navigate that can bring up different feelings. So it can be challenging, I think, with the added pressure with everything else that's going on. Online dating, just everything else, ghosting, all of that can be added as well. So yeah, for me, like I say, I'd say I'm all right at dating, authentic myself, but it can bring up some feelings or some sort of feelings that can trigger people when you're actually in that process.
I think you can be full of anxiety though, right? Because especially if you're enjoying it, if you're thinking, wow, this is going really well, there's that bit at the back of your head going,
do they
think that? Well, I'm having fun. Are they
Talk
having fun?
sometimes?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's hard. Like, should you ask well, you should never ask that question.
I feel like that's beggy. No, you don't
Yeah,
ask.
that's the point.
Yeah.
No.
Like, don't be beggy. I agree.
Have confidence in yourself. That's what I'm saying.
Like, you can tell by the vibe. Eye contact, laughing, touch. Not the first
Lewis,
one night stand.
I
mean like they hold your arm or your hand, like that sort of stuff. That's what I meant. Like tactilely stuff. You can generally tell the vibe. So that's a good point. In terms of where you took that though, Misha, and I think we talked about this before around it does almost get harder the longer you date, of like how do you keep that excitement? Because do you know how initially, again, we've discussed it, the excitement, the dopamine hit, the rush. Oh my God, they're really good looking. The chat's good. Like, how do you keep that exciting the longer it goes? Oh, and when it comes to like, you're literally just sat at each other's house on a nighttime, or you're getting a takeaway, or like you've had a long day at work and actually you just want to go and walk the dog. Like, it's not a thing. It's not a date. It's not a plan. There's no excitement. Like, do you feel that generally you become maybe a little bit more anxious in today's world when it gets to that stage as well?
Yeah, it's not the mundane stage, because I think there's blessings in that. I think you look forward to them when you're in a relationship, doing those simple day-to-day life things. But yeah, I think it just can get a little bit challenging. I think, like I say, I think if the passion's there and the look, it's building steadily, then it won't be so much of an issue, I don't think. I think, you make sure you still spend quality time together. I think where it gets to a point and you don't do those things, I think you always no matter how long you're in a relationship, it's always work. I think you should always be dating in a sense, not in a different way, but I think the longer you're together, you grow so much as a person as well, and you've got to grow alongside each other to be able to sustain the momentum, that kind of the passion towards each other. I think that's something you've got to keep going at, and a lot of people, or in my view, from my experience, think that sometimes a relationship just happens. when actually it doesn't. And I think that never goes away. You know, the things are going to get mundane, things are going to be samey day in, day out, but it's up to you to work on that. And this is the thing, isn't it? People can take the easy way out now, and they've got all these options that actually it's that hard journey that doesn't really happen. Sometimes it's people are reluctant to take that journey because of the culture that we're in at the moment. But it's hard. It can be hard work. It just doesn't just happen. It's a two-way thing, and it doesn't just happen. You know, you've got to
just
work.
because you're in the relationship
Yeah,
has to grow, has to evolve, has to develop.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And I think that's how you do that, by continuously dating. You're always getting to know that person that you're with, because you know experiences shape you. You change, experiences shape you, and I think it's about keeping up that momentum and being willing to do that for each other. So in essence, the mundanes, you know, it's not always going to be dead exciting, but it's up to you guys to make sure that you can navigate that path. But as I say, because of this dating era and this modern dating, I think it's took away from that, and people take the easy way out to be able to just go on to the next venture. 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 The next venture.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's for me. Yeah, I think that's the way.
So, a question for you both as we start to wrap up here. If you were to give, so Sophie, you're 27, Misha, I think you said you're 35 today. If you were to give 20-year-old you some dating advice, what would you say?
I know what I'd say. Straight off the bat. I would say, don't be worried about what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
And what society's norm is. Because you can do things the right way in terms of meeting your first love at 16 and getting engaged at 19 and getting married at 23 and having a baby at 26. And it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You could be on your own until you're 29, meet the right person, and you're with them for the rest of your life. I think you can't compare yourself to other relationships. You've got to just live for you and what you want in your own relationships. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And ultimately, as much as when you're in a relationship, it's important to make decisions about, like, regarding each other. I feel like so many situations in my early 20s, I should have put myself first, and I didn't. I put that person first. I'd just say, like, put yourself first. Go and travel. Go and do everything you want to do. Don't be worrying about living your life for someone else's happiness and live for your own. Do you know what I mean?
Love that. I think for me, one of the key is to, like you say, always be yourself. But in relationships, pay attention to how you feel around those people, and pay attention to the person you are being when you're in that person's presence. So do you like who you are when you're around this person? Or do you make those good choices? Do they make you, you know, do you feel good around them? So I think that's a pivotal thing and something that you learn as you get older. But yeah, just to be as authentic as possible and not care what other people are doing, or you know, other people's opinions, and just you do you. I'd say that were my key things, which I could just hug me little 20-year-old self right now. I could.
I think I think both were great answers, to be honest. I feel like I learned a lot. I was reflecting I definitely went out of presenter mode to, oh shit, I'm a really engaged listener there. I'm learning loads. That was super insightful. I definitely think for me it would be prioritize myself. And I think that's something I will carry into all future dating and relationships.
Don't lose your
don't lose I definitely lost myself. What I'm interested in, what I love. I stopped loving myself in all those sorts of things in my big relationship, and that was all on me. It's not on anyone else. I didn't prioritize being the best version of me, because I think to be great in a relationship, we have to be the best version of us. And so many of us put so much love, care, focus, attention into that other person, and we forget, what does that look like to the other person looking at us? So if we aren't the best version of us, if we aren't the most attractive, positive, or whatever that might be, like the most attractive version of us is the best version of us, hopefully. by putting all of our energy into someone else, that other person will not be falling in love and continuing to love you. So you have to love you for anyone else to love you as well. And I think that's something that I've learned.
Yeah, what's that saying again? Is it you can only love somebody as far as you love yourself or something? I can't remember the quote.
My mum always says to me, how can you expect anyone else to love you if you don't love yourself?
When you don't love yourself, that's
There
the
we
one.
go. See,
The one.
I said it in a bullshitty wrong way. TikTok star who absolutely knows how to phrase it for it's like bam, smash it. Yeah, bam.
But we made a joke once, and I said to my mum, like, who's gonna love me? And my mum was like, your mother. And I was like, thanks, girl. But like, no, not you. I want a husband.
Mum, this doesn't work. That's the wrong kind of love.
Yeah.
And it's illegal. Stop. Sorry.
Literally.
Sorry. Okay. The last question that we will finish on is if someone, so we gave ourselves some advice there, a 20-year-old self, and maybe the answer is very similar. But if someone is out there today struggling, irrespective of their age, irrespective of their relationships, like in terms of if they've dated before, been married before, kids before, whatever, what dating advice would you give to someone who is finding modern day dating today really hard?
That you're not alone. And that there's so many people in the exact same situation that you're in, feeling the exact same way that you're feeling. And if you know with your whole heart what you want as a person and what your morals are, there is definitely 100% another person out there that wants the exact same thing as you, and you're going to find them.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. She's got,
like,
she's got it.
I've got to follow that.
Come on, what am I going to say now? No, I just think, if you're feeling that way, I think to focus on, rather than focus on things external, because like you said, absolutely, you are going to find your person. There's somebody out there for everybody. But I think the main thing is to focus on developing yourself. Look inward to you and be authentically yourself, and the right people will find you. Your person will find you.
And how lucky will they be? Because you will be the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
And you're building yourself up, because that next person will be like, fucking hell, like, this girl is insane, or this man is insane.
Yeah.
Things that they want to things that they want to attract or they want in a partner, become that themselves. So work and develop on themselves.
Oh, Christian
just ripping me. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. It is very true. What I would so mine would definitely be all focus on yourself.
Yeah.
If you focus on yourself, I think, as we said, you become the best version of you.
And you attract it as well.
You attract it, yeah. Like I think I remember the time when I was using dating apps, and I say using because I do think it's like a drug, and I was very addicted to like the swipe. No meaningful connections with anyone or whatever. Like I was just like, it was the chase constantly, and it just wasn't good. So now it's been a good period of time, like a very good period of time since I've been off them, and I just feel like if I meet the person, great, and if I don't, I'm just going to keep trying to live the best life I can. Like if someone sees how good I think my life is and goes, I want to live that life too, great. And if they don't, then I'm still just going to keep living the best life I can. So it doesn't really matter. It's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, that's how people find you. Living is who you are, and that's how people find you, whether that's romantic, friendships, or whatever. So yeah, absolutely. The key to that is, try not to worry so much of those other things and focus on what matters, and it's you.
Fully agree. So Sophie, we're going to do the shameless plug here. Not like, even though you have by far considerably more followers, we will let people know where they can follow you, anyone who listens to the podcast. So mainly the lads who probably haven't commented, but generally are more likely to follow you, as we've found out tonight. Where can people follow you? How do they follow you? All those sorts of things.
So mainly I use TikTok and Instagram. Instagram's every single day, constantly. So if you want to find me on Instagram, it's @XO Sophie Ellen, and it's the exact same handle on TikTok, so you can't get confused. No excuses. But yeah, on them 2 platforms mostly.
Love it. No, absolutely love it. I would say thank you so much for coming on again. You are up there, like well up there, possibly my favorite guest, just because the
Oh,
crack
I love
is
that.
always, it's brilliant. Like, especially as we talk about societal things, like
Yeah.
you're so personable, good crack, down to earth.
I agree.
Yeah, really, really enjoyed the episode, and hopefully our listeners have got something from it tonight too.
I absolutely love coming on, so thank you so much. And
No.
hopefully next time I'll be married with 3 children and a house and a dog and a horse.
Well, next time we need to get you a Newcastle United football for your hat trick ball. So,
Might bring you a trophy on next time.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
push it.
we'll get a Carabao Cup trophy.
Oh, look at that.
That's our producer, so he's obviously
Hi, Christian. Thank you.
yeah, that's our producer. Okay, well, firstly, to all listeners who've listened live, thank you very much. We do really appreciate you listening. You can follow us if you don't follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, Spotify, Amazon Music, all the usual handles. Go and follow us, the Everyman Pod. We do weekly episodes talking about all sorts of health conversations, men's, women's health, physical and mental. Yeah, and we have a really busy few months coming up where we're actually going to be doing a lot more community type challenges, which you can get involved with as an audience. And Christian has said, actually, follow us on TikTok. We need to hit 1K. And I think he's saying that so we can go live on the TikTok. So we will work on that. Christian, there's a job for you, mate, which is fun. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you caught this up on a later platform, we do really appreciate it. And we will catch you on the next one. Thank you and good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'm saying that and it's not ending.